welcome back to another video. It's Ameeyah with American Property Realty and
Damon Sorrell with Fairway Independent Mortgage.
So I'm so excited to be doing this video with him. I've been wanting to do a video for a while for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about investments, what happens after you buy that first starter home. I've been getting a lot of questions from first-time home buyers. Before they even start the process, they want to know, okay, well, if I do get this starter home instead of my dream home, how do I go about getting my dream home after that starter home? So I thought it would be best to bring a lender in to show you what that looks like and how that process works for you guys. And then I'll give you my opinion as a real estate agent as well. So first thing that I wanted to start off with is like, okay, so let's just make it realistic. When you're first starting the home buying process and when you first start getting into real estate, sometimes you're not going to be able to buy that dream home right off the bat. You have to start with something small, something that's going to get you equity, something that you can live in, fix it up a little bit, and it's going to get you something in return so that you can move on to that next home. But you do have to be smart about it. You don't want to buy a home that's going to depreciate instead of appreciating, and then you end up with no equity. So the best thing that I always recommend people, especially lower income people, just to be transparent, is buy that smaller home. Buy that home that has the potential as a hidden gem. It can be fixed up. Maybe it's just cosmetic work, or if you have a little bit more knowledge, then you can go and get maybe like a fixer up, sell it for more, and then use that equity to buy your next home. But the question is, how does that work? Because now you have two mortgages. Or should you rent it out? Will that be better and use the income, the real estate income or the monthly payment income to buy your next home? So I'm gonna let him go deeper into that, what that looks on his side, and then I'll just bounce in from here and there.
All right, thanks, Ameeyah. So every person is looking for generational wealth, and they're trying to find that formula to get there. The actual formula is you do buy a starter home for affordability. Affordability is key, is making sure that you can afford to make the payments every month. It's going to reduce down your principal balance. And the longer you hold the home, the more it's worth. So now you have the appreciation. Now, if you're trying to go the route of, we're going to call route A, you want to hold the home and you want to go buy a bigger home. In order for that to work, there's a few key factors that come into play. Number one, has your income increased? Number two, your credit score has to increase to the 700s or higher, because you're going to have to do a conventional loan, because you can put a lease or you can rent out your first home and then you can buy the second home. But in order to buy the bigger home, number one, you're going to need assets for your down payment. Number two, can your income support a bigger purchase price? So let's give it realistic terms. The first home you bought was $200,000 and your payment was $1,700. 3 years pass. If your income increased, let's say from $50,000 to $80,000, now you do have the opportunity to now buy that bigger home, let's say at $300,000. So now you can do a conventional loan, putting 5% down, which is $15,000. You can put your first home on a lease so it can cover that mortgage. And now you have started that phase of generational wealth, because you now have an income property that is now paying for the mortgage. And then now you have your second property that you're living in. Option B is you buy your affordable home. In 3 years, it's going to appreciate. Now, let's say that home is worth $200,000. It went to $300,000 within a 3-year period. Now you can sell that home and take the net profits and purchase the bigger home that you're interested in. But everything comes down to credit score and income and your assets.
For first-time home buyers, just to give you a reminder of qualifications, I'll just say in Texas because that's where we're licensed in. You wanted something like down payment assistance. You didn't have that big 3.5% for an FHA or 20% or whatever your lender is telling you. There are programs for you. Credit scores for that, they usually start around 620, is that correct?
So for down payment assistance programs for FHA loans do start at 620. There are 4 statewide down payment assistance programs: TSHAC, TDHEA, SETH 5-star, SETH GOLDSTAR, and then we have a 5th one called the Chenoa Fund, Chenoa program. All those programs can provide you with the down payment to purchase your home, or you can get a little bit more money that can cover the down payment and closing costs.
And that comes with a higher interest rate, right? The more you use.
So here's the key. There's no free ride, meaning that there's always a string attached. So if they're going to provide the money for you to be able to purchase a home in that transaction, the string attached is a few things. They're going to control the interest rate. It's a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, so it'll be a little bit higher than the market value of what the interest rates at your credit score. Number two, it has to be your primary residence. You have to live in the house a certain period of time. You're going to take a home buyer's education course, which is real easy. It's an online course. And then they're going to be your service lender, meaning that that's who you're going to make your mortgage payments to.
Yep. And then if you didn't want to use down payment assistance and you were just looking at an FHA loan, the reason why I keep saying FHA loans, those are usually easier for first-time home buyers to get depending on the situation, because they're government-backed, correct?
Correct. FHA loans are way easier to qualify for versus a conventional. Conventional loan, you can do a down payment as low as 3%. Your debt to income ratio is going to be tighter. It's going to be 43% or 45% of your total income, which makes things a little bit harder for the average person. FHA will let you stretch your debt to income ratio all the way up to about 56%. Now I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but from just a realistic standpoint, if you made $60,000, it's $5,000 a month is your gross monthly income. The maximum housing ratio they'll let you do is, let's say 40% of 5,000, because they won't let you use all of your money. So that's about 2,000 as a payment. That means whatever your other monthly debts you have, they can't be over 36% of your income. So most people have student loans and they have car notes, and which takes up a bulk of their income. So doing FHA still allows them to be able to make themselves qualifiable to be able to purchase a house versus conventional. It is very, very tight.
Yeah, and remember I told you guys, if you're gonna get that car and you know that you're gonna wanna buy soon, make sure that you have the income to be able to get both. Because if not, that high monthly payment that you get for your car note, $600, $700, and you only make $2,000 or $3,000 a month, it's gonna eat it up and you're not gonna get approved for much. I had a client get approved for $500 a month because her car payment was so high, and that's $55,000. Just to give you an idea. So just remember that when you guys are getting ready to purchase a home, be smart about what you're doing. With FHA, without down payment assistance, I believe the credit score does start at 580.
Yes, it starts at 580 if you have your own money for down payment. However, I would say this, if you're that close, you're at 580, you're not that far off from 620. There are credit restoration companies that can help you get that extra edge. The key thing to think about is the lower your credit score, the more they're going to charge you as far as when it comes to fees and interest rates, because 580 is considered below average, poor credit. You still can get qualified. However, you're not getting the best terms. Just getting your credit score to that next level will give you better terms. It opens it up to give you more options. So you can always give us a call. We can help you put a plan together so that you can get the best options available for you.
Yeah, if your lender is not giving you an action plan and they just gave you a straight up no and then just left you there, you need to find another lender. Because lenders that truly want to help you and work with you, like Damon here, they're going to say, okay, well, I can't prove you right now, but this is what you can do to get here, or this is what needs to change, or here is my referral or my contact that will be able to give you more information to get to this point. You want somebody that's going to be an advocate for you or be that resource for you, if that makes sense. Like with me, I always tell you guys, well, I know a lender, I know credit repair, I know title. You want somebody like that, a lender can do that as well. So just keep that in mind when you're lender shopping, as you guys like to call it. But I did want to go ahead and get into what that will look like. So for example, you want to keep your first home and now you want to get a second home, how that calculates and how that looks when you're going to get approved for that second mortgage.
All right, so in that process, if the first home you did buy was FHA, FHA is for primary residence only. Conventional does give you two options for primary residence and investment. So if you buy the first home with an FHA loan, you cannot have another FHA loan unless you are 100 miles away in order for that to work. So the formula is, if you're starting FHA, after you bought your house, don't add any additional debts on top of it. You should be working on increasing your credit score and reducing your debts so that you can now get a conventional loan, because the next loan has to be conventional so that they can use a lease agreement, or you can rent out your first home and it will be credited toward you. So it basically washes out the mortgage. If you try to do an FHA for the second loan and the first one is a conventional, FHA will not count that lease unless you have a 2-year history on your tax return under Schedule E that you've been reporting that income. If not, you got to be able to afford 2 mortgages.
I just learned something new because I didn't know that. So what does it look like if they want to sell that first FHA? Can they get another FHA loan if they sell it?
Yes, you can do that all day long. So you're not capped when you're selling your home, meaning that, okay, you bought your first home FHA, you sold it 2 years later, and you want to buy another home using FHA, you definitely can do it.
Okay.
So even if it's a year later, you sold your first home and you want to get another home FHA, you can definitely do it. You just can't have 2 FHA mortgages simultaneously.
Oh, okay. So let's just figure out, okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Sally Sue, she bought this home for $100,000 and now she sold it for $200,000. She only had a mortgage left of $75,000.
Okay.
So she wants to know, should she keep that home and refinance it, or HELOC loan, or should she just sell it and use that equity to buy her next home? What would look best for her in a situation like that, and how do you know which situation is best for you?
So a lender will actually look at, that's part of doing the application, and then we have a consultation with the client. So for a situation like that, the first thing we're going to look at is Sally Sue's income. Can her income support what she's doing? So if you take an equity loan is when you use some of the equity out of your home, but it's a separate loan. So number one, Sally Sue's mortgage is still there. So let's just say her mortgage is $800, and then she has an equity loan that's $400. She now has $1,200 worth of debt. The new house she's trying to buy is $2,000 a month. So her income has to be able to support at least all of those, or she has to lease on the home, but they're still going to review the debt of the equity loan, $400 a month. It's still responsible for that because it's a separate debt. So in that situation, can her income support it? And then what are her credit scores? Because the main thing is when you're starting to try to get multiple homes, you gotta have 700 plus credit scores with the income to do conventional. If your credit scores are under 700, conventional is gonna be very difficult to do because the mortgage insurance is gonna be extremely high when you're not putting 20% down.
So what does it look like for them if they're going to do like contingencies? So I'm going to buy this home contingent on me selling my home. They want to do it simultaneously, but they have an FHA on the first home and they want to use FHA again. Will FHA let them do that, or they absolutely have to sell it first before they apply?
How it would work is when you're doing that contract, it's with the intent of selling this home. So once you got the first home under contract, and let's say the first home is going to close on June 25th. When you get ready to set up the contract for the home that they're going to buy, let's say that one's going to close on June 30th. So in the contingency, it is saying that we're going to sell this home, use the proceeds to buy the next home. And you can do it because once the first home closes, let's say the first home is on Jackson Street, it closes on June 25th. On your HUD statement, you got $125,000 net. You are going to send that document to us, and it proves that you sold that home. Here's the amount of money you got from profits from selling that home, and that's what you're going to use to buy the home on Peninsula Drive. So yes, you can do it, but it's a format or a formula that you're doing. You can't do it until that home sells.
Okay, so remember that if you're going to do contingent on selling your first home and you want to use FHA, just make sure that first home sells before you close on your new home, and it is possible. So those are a couple of different ways where you can use your equity from the first home or from your starter home to get into that next home. If you have any more questions, let us know. You can leave them in the comments below. And we'll see you guys in the next video.